lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the live Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. And most importantly, if you would like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Slick James Johnson, Paul, Flatten Earth and Chocolate Saying. Good to have you all.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Any signs of curvature?
Same as yesterday, nothing.
Yep, same. Nothing.
Nothing, whole load of nothing. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Yeah, either. Not unless you want to use your imagination, but other than that, no reality of it.
Scientific evidence of gravity?
Once again, that's going to require your imagination.
Yep, no gravity.
Any evidence that you can have a gas pressure without a container?
Nothing. Once again, it's
Nope.
nothing.
What about evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
I haven't seen anything myself.
No. Nope.
Any evidence of the distance?
Nada.
Distance to the sun?
The distance to the sun is right where it needs to be for your experience.
Good to know. Any evidence of its distance, though?
Well, no. Oh, yeah, no evidence of a distance.
No? What about the presuppositional R value, Earth radius? Anybody? Any more for any more?
I don't have a string long enough to be able to figure it out.
They'd have to make a tape.
Presuppositional means fake, not real.
That concludes the housekeeping. So, Slick, you seem to have a bit of a hard-on for Logan Paul. What's going on?
Well, you know, it's just that I really think Logan Paul's doing a good thing, and I just happened to catch Patricia Steer's show yesterday, and Robbie was on there just apologizing like he made the worst mistake he ever could have made, and I just don't think that they realize what the guy was trying to do, you know, so they just immediately started trashing him, and I just didn't see that. So I was trying to let them know in the chat, hey guys, I don't think you're thinking this through, you know, because it sounded like to me that Patricia and Robbie was doing more damage the more they, you know, talked about it. You know, so I kind of mentioned that a couple times in the chat. Next thing I know, I was timed out, so that was the end of that.
Fair enough. I remember having a similar attitude towards PewDiePie, so I did two shows, one saying PewDiePie's an idiot, the other one saying PewDiePie's a genius, and I gave similar reasons to you.
Because, you know, what they were saying was that, like, they were basically saying on the show that the Behind the Curve documentary didn't do as much damage as Logan Paul. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, that's not the case, because people came away from Behind the Curve thinking the earth rotates. Logan Paul didn't do any of that. He didn't come in there with anything. He just made a lot of suggestions, and then at the end, he pulled himself out of it, so that you could leave it open. That's why at the end he said, I think that there's no earth at all. See, so now he's not taking any position whatsoever. So now it's left up to the viewer to make up your own mind rather than him putting a stamp on it and trying to lead you one way or the other. See, that's what I got out of it.
Fair enough. Have you watched it now, Paul?
No, not yet. But after talking to Slick, I may watch it. So not yet. I have no opinion at the moment still.
I say Logan Paul for Flat Earth President. That's my new slogan.
Did we get either of your opinions, Flat Earth or Chocolate Sane? Either or?
I would agree with that. The film, he just kind of like stepped out of it. But the acting was just so terrible that it was hard to take.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
No, fair enough. Yeah, it's difficult to watch. I watched it technically with Eben Kim, because he was watching it and doing a full commentary on the whole video. So I got like an extended version with a bit of his commentary in it as well. Hey, Ranty, long time.
How do? Yeah, it's been a while.
You back home now?
Sorry?
You back home? Are you back home now? Are you back in?
Yeah, back home, finally. The car broke down yesterday on the way back, which wasn't much fun. The time we actually got in, I think it was around about 9 o'clock at night, and the car broke down at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just frustrating, and we left all the suitcase and everything in the car because the hire car that we got came after the tow truck removed the car. And then today we were expecting the car to be at the garage, and it wasn't. So we had to drive to Lancaster Services to go and pick the suitcases up. It's just been an absolute nightmare.
Oh no, well, that's not the end to a good holiday, and you were sick for the whole holiday as well, from what you were telling me.
That's right,
sorry.
and I'm still sick now. Still got the flu, so
Bummer.
One of those things. I know. On the plus side, I actually went in a second-hand shop, and I picked a couple of paintings out, which caught my eye. They wanted £3 each for them. Turns out they're from the late 18th century, oil on canvas, and combined they're worth about £1,500. So
Wow.
It wasn't such a bad holiday.
That's fantastic. From a thrift shop?
Yeah, from a thrift shop.
Oh wow, that's excellent. Oh, I love those sorts of stories. That's wonderful. Excellent stuff, Ranty. Hello, Arwin. How you doing? Hello.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Spurs.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, Ranty. Hey, Chocolate. Hey, Arwin.
Hey, Ranty.
Arwin's got
I need
like
a proper
voodoo
sound
bag.
check this time, by the way. To hear if I can hear everyone.
Is Miss. I don't know if you know Mr. Grimm. Mr. Grimm. He's Electric Universe, and he says he can prove the globe, but he's worried that.
Is everyone there?
He's worried that is he banned, Nathan?
Okay, I can hear you at least, Nathan.
I can hear you, Erwin. Can you see me?
You can't hear any of us by the sounds. You had the same.
I
problem.
can hear you now.
Can I be heard?
Who can you hear?
I hear you.
Yes, we can
I
hear
seem
you.
to be hearing everyone. Nobody's being phased out, but yeah, let's hope that doesn't come back like yesterday.
I hear you. Arwin, I hear you.
So it seems to be working fine now.
You're
Hello,
heard.
Anon. Hold on 1 second, everyone. Hello, Anon. Can you hear us?
Hey, Nathan.
Good to have you. So, Spurs, you were saying about Mr. Grimm Electric Universe we got to.
Yeah, he's worried that he's banned. He's worried that he won't be able to speak or, I don't know, say what he wants to say. He's considering joining the panel. He has a lot to say. So I'm just wondering if he can he do that? Is that possible?
No, I'm not hearing Spurs Schemo for some reason.
I hear you, Arvin. One as well.
It's going to be one of those days. I can just tell. It was similar yesterday. I might bring him in on Skype. If he drops, I'll immediately call him.
I was in a conversation with Mr. Grimm's for about 3 hours.
Yeah, what do you think of Mr. Grimm and the Electric Universe? Do you think
Yes.
Have you had a chance to speak with him?
Yes.
Okay.
And the guy is he kind of flips. Like when he's talking about Electric Universe, he's very respectable, he's adult, and he's knowledgeable.
Right.
But as soon as he gets off that subject, he turns into 100% troll.
Okay.
So he kind of goes back and forth on you. That's, you know.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Like
okay?
in other words, he won't let you get a word in edgewise with your story, but he can talk about Electric Universe and he'll just drone on and on forever.
Yeah, that can be a bit of an issue. Like he doesn't have the back and forth. So, like if he says something, you want to ask him a question, he probably won't. But I don't know. I mean, again, we'd have to see. Who knows if he's live on air? It might be because you said he can be respectful. So I don't know. I mean, would you like to speak? He wants to come on. I think.
Bring him in. Come on in, sir. I don't. Come on in.
Okay, let's see if he wants to.
Yeah, the panel's not full. It might be a good time to do it. Did anybody listen to Riley go with about the flat Earth last night?
I'm up to about an hour and 20 minutes into it.
Yeah, I listened to most of it. I was at the office, so I had it playing while I was doing some work at the office, and because it was raining here, so I couldn't get out. And I think Anthony did a great job, and he was pulling up quotes and pulling up articles, and and trying to get him to agree, and he wouldn't. And then Anthony would ask him for sightings, and he wouldn't do it. He would just keep saying the same thing, and it was kind of. I think Anthony did a great job, going after it, even trying to help move the conversation along. I thought he did good.
Hopefully, one or other will join and give us their side of the story in that regard. I mean, from what I could gather, yeah, because I've got a reasonable understanding of the arguments, I can tell who's winning and losing the arguments. Whether or not that's apparent to a newbie may not be so apparent. From a newbie's perspective, they both held their own. From my perspective, Anthony hammered him. From your perspective, Anthony hammered him. But like I say, I haven't watched all of it yet. There might be some massive U-turn that takes place towards the end of the hangout. But so far, yeah, just as expected. But as I say, hopefully at least maybe we'll get Anthony on. Maybe he'll talk about it if he's listening.
He was making some mistakes here and there, but it was overall pretty good. So long, there's bound to be mistakes when you go at it for so long, one-on-one.
The part that I had trouble listening to was that it was just constant dialogue. It wasn't a whole lot of back and forth. It was like one real long-winded explanation followed by another and kind of back and forth. So it was like nobody was taking a breath.
That's why you've got like double speed and time and a half speed on your settings. Just whizzes by at time and a half.
One thing I know,
it was live though.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Yeah, it was live. One thing I noticed that kept happening is, I think Anthony would say gravity is not a force. Then Fight the Flat Earth would always say, well, it's not a force, but it is a force. I'm going, really? Are you really saying that?
It's the double speak, man. It's just like when he said math is, he was trying to argue that math is reality, but then conceded that math is not reality, but it is, but it's not. So it's like, yeah, brother, work that out.
I think that's the thing I keep noticing. They can't concede any point whatsoever. I think if they feel like they have to concede 1 point, it's just going to demolish the whole thing. Even Anthony conceded, okay, well, I'll just give you Cavendish. He conceded. Even though he didn't, that's maybe the mistake he may have made. I'm not sure what you're seeing, Erwin, but I thought Anthony was just saying, look, okay, let's move past this. We're not getting anywhere, And but he would not. Didn't seem like Fight the Flat Earth would give Anthony any ground whatsoever. That's the biggest thing. That's all.
Limitless channel. If you want to join, feel free. You can criticize all you like.
Nathan, can you just stick this on screen? Because I'm going to rub it in the Limitless channel's face. Because he called me a liar when I told him about the painting. So I've just gone and taken a couple of images of them.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Grimm here. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, I didn't hear anything from him. I didn't eject him. Colin Turner, thank you very much indeed. He says, demolish the super chat. That's... Put the last one back on. Cool.
Yeah, and also I picked up this modern piece, and I actually love this.
Yeah.
Look at that. The 3 quid.
He's here now. He's here now. He's here now. I think he's got mic problems, so don't kick him because he's been trying to get in.
There we go.
I think that's really nice. That.
Hold on a second, Ranty. Can't hear you, Mr. Grimvy. Maybe try.
There we go. I think I got it now.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Ah, there you go.
Oh wow! Hey, thanks for having me back. I think it's the first time in what, 2 years?
Something like that. You didn't want the show to be running.
Oh, is that what it was? Because I said that I remember the day that it happened. I said, why are we talking about the Isle of Man when we don't have the GPS data or the environmental data to make a proper refraction index? So it's basically just useless talk.
No,
you got mad and banned me.
And
then spread a rumor that I porn bombed you, and you porn bombed your show, or somebody porn bombed your show afterwards. But I suspected it was you, so you wouldn't have to have that show on that when I made that statement.
I've never mentioned that. Nevertheless,
you never said that I porn bomb you.
Nope. Do you want to quote me?
I said to you, Mr. Grimm, he doesn't even remember you. You know, you were going on saying, "Oh, Nathan said." I said, "Nathan
does remember me. Are you kidding me?
I know you are. It's not that I don't remember you. I remember you not wanting the show to be around. You wanting the show to go away.
You remember you banning me every single time I ever showed up, being the first person you ever banned. You don't remember that?
Yeah, for wanting the show to go away and not wanting it around. So I was like, okay, if you don't want the show to be around, never come back again. That's kind of my first question. Given that you didn't want the show to be around, why do you want on?
No, what I said was, if we got to the bottom of this, I don't feel like you're being honest, Nathan, because if we were to get to the bottom of this tomorrow, then you wouldn't have a show anymore. That's literally verbatim what I said.
All right.
No, you're wrong. Oh, go on, Nathan.
Anyway, moving on. Apparently, you've got something.
Anyway, like I'm saying, glad to have you back. I don't mean to hash up some old stuff, but let's talk about the Earth or the sunrise or the sunset or some observations or something. What are you guys into?
Or gas pressure, Mr. Green. Gas pressure. What do you know about
or gas pressure or light or refraction or whatever you want to talk about.
I'm happy to go with your first claim.
Why is it that you think the Earth is flat? If you don't mind me asking.
Obviously and observably, when you look at it, it's flat. So your first assertion was about the sun. What about it? What's your claim in that regard?
What assertion was that? Go ahead, tell me.
Well, you said, let's talk about the sun.
Was that an assertion or was it a question like...
Well, I'm asking, what's your claim? What's your claim in that regard?
I just wanted to make sure that you understand that I didn't make an assertion yet.
My bad. What's your claim in regards to the sun, Grimm?
Well, my claim is that the sun is actually moving in space and that we revolve around the sun as we spin on our axis. And my claim is also that all of our observations show us that that is actually true. The observations from day to night, those actually support as evidence that what I'm seeing is true. The sun, and the moon setting and rising, those are evidences that it's true. They don't change in angular size.
Hold on, Grimm. Sorry, don't scattergun us. Sorry, Grimm. I don't want you.
Oh, so you want me to only give you a couple of my evidences?
Yeah. So we can actually address them rather than having 20 at once. So,
okay, that makes sense.
What's true? You said that it's true. I don't know what you're claiming still.
Oh well, we were talking in relevance to the model, that the model is true.
Model? We don't live on a model.
I know. So the fact that our observations, right, they match what the model is that we have made from our observations. That's what I mean is true.
Well, explain to me. So what observation and what are you claiming based on the observation? I'm still not clear about what you're actually claiming.
I gave you a list of two, and I thought you were going to respond to those two.
You haven't claimed anything yet.
Right, I did though.
Explain it to me. Maybe I'm slow. I don't know what you're claiming. Sorry.
Sun setting. You seem to skim right over the sunrise and the sunset as if it's not a phenomenon that actually shows that the Earth is spinning and that.
Oh, so your claim? Okay, okay, I'm there. So your claim
or
is
at least
the sunrise,
not flat.
that the sunrise and sunset prove we're spinning. Is that your claim?
I'm saying that is evidence that we are spinning. Those are some of the evidence. Remember I said I had about a list of 30 evidences, but
yeah, and I said I don't want 30.
You may have like
through one of them, Grimm.
So now you're trying to posit as if it's also.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hey Joseph, how you doing? Can you hear us?
Grimm, stop.
Hold on, Joseph. Can you hear us? Hello.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Good to have you. What's your deal, Joseph?
Say again, sorry.
What's your deal?
Oh, I'm just here to join in on the conversation.
Cool. So, what side of the fence do you sit?
I am a traditional believer in conventional science.
Okay. Me too.
Terrific.
What does that mean? What side of the fence do you sit on?
Well, I go with the side that conventional science offers us today.
Science.
Regarding the Earth.
Science?
Yes.
Science is a method. So, was there some specific experiment that you're referring to, and what does it point to?
Well, there's
science isn't a method.
Yeah, I wasn't talking to you, Grimm. Grimm, you're going to get ejected real fast if you interrupt this conversation, Grimm. Nobody talk to you. Grimm, I tell you what, Grimm, this is your last opportunity. When I talk to you, you will know because I will address you by your name. So at the moment, the person I'm addressing is Joseph. So,
Spurs, if you appreciate not muting me while I'm...
I'll kick you out because I haven't stopped him from muting you because I'm trying to talk to someone else, not you.
I know, but to me, you know what that looks like to me, Nathan? It looks like to me you're running away from our conversation.
Yeah, shut the fuck up and get out my hangout. If you can't shut your mouth, I'll kick you out, Grimm. Didn't get long before we got to the same asshole we banned about 2 years ago. So piss off, don't come back. If you want to join in the conversation, you'll play nice and not interrupt other people's conversation. Joseph's been very polite, not interrupted you interrupting him. Now we'll hear what Joseph's got to say about some sort of science or experiment that he's got that backs up some belief we don't know what he's got yet. So we'll find that out hopefully in due course. My bad, Joseph. You go ahead.
No, it's all good. So one thing that is often disputed is that the Earth spins. Would I be incorrect about that assessment?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I said one common criticism that I often hear is that the Earth is not spinning. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yeah. Stationary. Yep.
Sorry, I'm trying to establish where you stand though. So, are you asserting?
Oh, I believe that the Earth is an oblate spheroid and that we are in a solar system and the Earth travels around the sun, etc. So that's what I mean by conventional science, because that's what conventional science offers in the realm of cosmology and astrophysics, right?
Well, sorry.
You're a para-earther.
Oh, Arwin. So what? So you just said astrophysics. That's pseudoscience. You asserted science at the beginning. Now you're talking about pseudoscience.
Well, if you're going to say that astrophysics is pseudoscience, that would be a claim that you would have to demonstrate.
Okay. Show me any assertion made by pseudoscience that has an independent variable, dependent variable, and an adherence to the scientific method. Go.
Well, that's not an argument. That's a question.
Well, you're claiming it is science. I'm claiming it isn't.
No. Listen, what I'm saying is that we have established understandings of certain areas of research, right? And those areas of research have been given certain names. The umbrella term that we use with those subsets the umbrella term is called science, right? And underneath that, we have biology, astrophysics, chemistry, et cetera, right? So to say that one of those categories is a pseudoscience would be a positive claim that you're putting forth. And that would be a claim that you would have to demonstrate either through some sort of argument with evidence or a combination of the two.
No problem. Do you know what pseudoscience is?
I have a loose definition in my mind.
Let me know what you think it is.
Of what it is.
Okay, let me know.
So I can give an example to demonstrate as opposed to giving some crappy definition. So a pseudoscience would be something like homeopathy or alchemy.
Okay, what makes it pseudoscience?
The fact that none of the results are consistent, and there's no experiments to demonstrate the effectiveness of the methods that are used in homeopathy.
Oh, really?
Hold on, Arwin.
We attacked homeopathy.
Oh, my bad, Arwin. So what you're saying is because they don't have experiments to back them, hypothesis tests to back them, they're pseudoscience. So in essence, a non-adherence to the experimental practices.
Well,
of
let's
the
just do this
scientific
then. I'll just Google the definition of pseudoscience.
Well, it's all right. I already know. You don't need to. I've just asked you.
No,
what you said.
for myself.
I was in the middle of talking. I can tell you, it's a non-adherence to the scientific methods. That's pseudoscience. So you were correct because they don't back what they claim with experiments. It's pseudoscience, non-adherence to the scientific method. That is the definition. Just to save you the bother. So it's pseudoscience because it doesn't back itself with systematic hypothesis tests, experiments. So my first question to you was give me an astrophysicist's experiment.
I'm not understanding your question. I don't think
No problem. I'll explain. You have declared that these sit under an umbrella of science. I asserted no, astrophysics is a pseudoscience. We've then clarified what is pseudoscience. A non-adherence to the scientific method. When you clarified it, you defined it as having no experiments, otherwise known as hypothesis tests. When I asked you originally for an independent and dependent variable hypothesis, that would be the thing that would be experimented upon to prove a cause of an effect. I'm asking you for that for astrophysics so that we can determine... I haven't finished. So that we can determine whether or not it's adhered to the scientific method. Because if it hasn't, it is pseudoscience. So I would like any astrophysicist's experiment with its independent and dependent variable.
So one thing you're able to do is with a powerful enough telescope is track things like stars and their positions in the sky, for example.
Whee!
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what you can do
with
the stars.
Arwin! Sorry. I asked for a hypothesis. That wasn't
I was giving you an experiment. That you
think that's an experiment? Yes, an experiment would... Sorry, I'm talking. I didn't interrupt you. Now shut your mouth while I clarify what you have not given me. An experiment, as you have just declared, would be a hypothesis test. It would contain an observed phenomena, otherwise known as a dependent variable. It would also contain a presumed cause of said phenomena, otherwise known as an independent variable. I have asked you 3 times to give me those things, not tell me about what a telescope looks at and declare that it's an experiment. I want a hypothesis with its independent and dependent variable, so we can check if it adheres to the scientific method or not. If it does not, then it is pseudoscience as correctly asserted by me. Take your time.
I just want to make sure you're finished so you don't get angry.
He'll get angry anyway, so don't worry about it.
I'll get angry if you don't give me an independent and dependent variable used by an astrophysicist. Because that's what you need for it to be an adherence to the scientific method. If you don't have it, I'm expecting you to concede you're wrong and correctly assert that astrophysicists are pseudoscientists, as they are.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's a good reason to get angry, but anyways, so a hypothesis would be something like life is finite, right? That's something that would be fair.
No, so that's not a hypothesis.
It's not an educated guess. That's what a hypothesis is, right?
No.
A hypothesis is...
No. Sorry, Arwin.
No?
Arwin.
Oh.
Why am I having to rumpus why is my own side rumpusing me? Why does this happen every time I listen back to the show? I have to fight with Arwin.
I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
Right. No, that's not a hypothesis.
May I read what a hypothesis is off to you? Just so we're all on the same page, right?
Do you want to share your screen? No. Do you want to share your screen so we can see what you're reading from, please?
Yeah, I'm just going off of Google. So hold on, just give me a second. Do a quick little screen share. Man, you guys don't trust no one around here, eh? Holy. Okay.
We're all in this mess because we've trusted.
No, I know. I get it. So a hypothesis is a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. So life is finite would be a hypothesis, right? So we could expand that into other things. So we could expand that to, so if life is finite, that means things within the universe have a shelf life. So let's observe some of those things. So now we can get to the experimentation part of it.
You're reading the wrong one. You seem to be reading the colloquial. Sorry, yeah, you seem to be reading the colloquial definition. Were we not specific?
Well, I can get like a more rigorous
sorry, I've interrupted
definition.
you to make a correction because you seem to be reading the colloquial definition when we are quite specifically talking about science.
Well, then I'll type in
bear with me.
Definition.
Could you please read the right hand? Why have you just changed the screen? Oh, it's okay. Well, it's still there.
It's taking me to the same place. So it's
it's all right. Can you read that definition, please?
Sure. It's just going to expound further on what I'm saying.
No. You read the colloquial definition.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
So a hypothesis is a proposed explanation for a phenomenon.
Stop. Oops. What's a phenomenon called? Stop.
Right?
I don't need you to talk any further. That's all you need to say. A proposed explanation for a phenomenon, correct?
Yeah, so life is finite would be a hypothesis.
Talking! Yes, so we have a proposed explanation for a phenomena, otherwise known as a dependent variable. So the dependent variable and independent variable were specifically what I asked for, and there we have it. Hypothesis and explanation for a phenomenon. So your dependent variable in the hypothesis is the phenomenon. So let's start there with your definition. What's the phenomenon being observed in your experiment? The dependent variable.
Lights in the sky.
Excellent. So now you give me the presumed cause, otherwise known as an independent variable, for those lights in the sky to make this a valid scientific experiment. What's the cause of the lights in the sky?
Well, we don't know the cause. That's why we do.
So this isn't science then, Sunshine, because we would require an independent variable, something that we presume is the cause of the effect, the phenomena that we're trying to research, and we would vary and manipulate that presumed cause in an experiment to prove it is the cause. That's science.
Okay,
now,
but you have to allow me
shut up!
More than...
Shut your mouth! Okay. Unless you've got an independent and dependent variable so that you can experiment and perform systematic tests of your hypothesis, then you don't have science. So the fact that you can tell me that you can adhere to step 1, observe a phenomena, doesn't give you science, because observation and declaration isn't varying and manipulating a presumed cause and effect, otherwise known as science. So this is not science. As you correctly declare, you don't know what the cause is. So, Sunshine, this would be pseudoscience, as declared about 10 minutes ago. Not an adherence to the scientific method, not establishing the cause of your effect that you're looking at, but simply a declaration by priests, otherwise known as pseudoscience, a bit like homeopathy, where they don't have experimental backing. So your priests, the ones that look at the sky, declare. They don't experiment, they're pseudoscientists. Now I'd like my concession, please.
Well, I'm not understanding why you're being so hostile with me. I haven't been hostile with you, right?
Yeah, because you're wrong.
I'm not understanding
I'll tell
why
you,
you're calling
don't
me
ask
Sunshine.
rhetorical questions and then keep talking.
I haven't called you any names.
Stop talking.
Right?
Don't ask rhetorical questions. I'll give you an answer. I'm hostile because you, the ignorant person,
I didn't ask a question. I'm saying
I'm talking.
No, but I didn't ask you.
You, the ignorant person, has declared
again,
that
name calling.
astrophysicists are scientists. That is incorrect. They are.
That's fine.
No, you haven't conceded it yet. So
no, but listen to what I'm saying.
It's fine. I concede I was wrong.
This is not a conversation.
Yeah, because we've got somebody who's a dumbass and ignorant who I'm trying to school
again with the name calling.
and keeps talking. That's what ignorant people do.
Dude.
They talk like Arwen is when they should shut up and listen. So
is this because I'm a black guy?
I don't know what color you are. I can't see your skin. Is it because I'm white? Is it because I'm white?
The treatment.
Nathan's a black woman.
We have slick. We have slick here.
I don't know the color of your skin.
Did I just hear that right? Did you just say he was racist because of the way he's talking to
No,
you?
I'm asking because I'm not understanding why I'm being called names. I haven't been rude to anybody. I haven't been rude to anybody. I haven't called anybody any names. I haven't raised my voice. I haven't been hostile in any fashion.
Okay, now, do you want an answer?
Ignorant.
Do you want an answer?
Things.
Do you want an answer, or will you just keep talking? Yeah, he'll just keep talking. Do you want an answer to your question? I don't know why I'm being berated.
Look, whoever's speaking to me, I haven't asked a question. What I'm saying is I don't understand the treatment.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Do you want an explanation, or will you continue to talk? That's a question. Do you want an explanation, or will you just continue to talk?
I don't know if I want an explanation as to why I'm being treated so poorly.
You're not being treated poorly. I
would say I am.
So you are going to continue to talk? So you're treating me very poorly by interrupting. You've asked a question. You've clarified that you want some sort of explanation for the treatment. Now I'm giving it you and you're talking over me. You're being called ignorant because you are ignorant. You came in and declared incorrectly that astrophysicists were under the umbrella of science, a method. Then I explained that they were not. We're still explaining it, and rather than conceding it, you're like, oh, that's fair enough, while you talk all over me. I interrupt when you make an incorrect assertion that needs correcting. I don't want the ears of my audience poisoned with your ignorance. So that is why I've had to take time out of my day to explain to somebody who doesn't understand what they're talking about that they're ignorant. You see, so you can either shut your mouth and be educated so that in future you're no longer ignorant, but unfortunately you're too keen to talk when you should listen. So that is another demonstration of your ignorance. You're not listening to what I'm saying, you're waiting for your opportunity to talk. So, is it clear that I'm not calling you names? I am absolutely demonstrating that you are ignorant of these facts, i.e., astrophysics is pseudoscience. Fact. Please concede it.
I disagree.
Oh, really? So, even though I've just explained precisely what science is...
I have my own explanation.
Oh, you're talking again. You don't agree, even though you've just had an explanation of precisely what science is, using your own definition. So we've gone and had Wikipedia show us that it's observing phenomena. We've asked you what your phenomena is, and your phenomena's the stars, and yet you concede that you can't give us a cause, and you still think it's science.
May I speak? May I speak now? More than a sentence.
Yeah, I was at the end of my point.
I'm going to carry on.
Yeah, I was at the end of my point when you asked for permission to speak. Yeah?
Oh, lordy.
Yeah, being ignorant's frustrating for a lot of people. So, because I was interrupted being asked for permission, I'll repeat myself. Hopefully you'll be able to contain yourself and not ask for permission until there's a pause. I even ran out of breath knowing that you would talk, given the slightest gap. So, given that you cannot give us a cause for your phenomena, you don't have an adherence to the scientific method. A non-adherence to the scientific method is pseudoscience. Now, please tell me where you feel the pseudoscience of astrophysics has an adherence to the scientific method, please.
I'm just making sure you're finished.
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay. So, as I was saying before regarding a hypothesis, right? So it's a proposed explanation for a phenomenon, but for it to be scientific, right? For a hypothesis to be a scientific hypothesis, the scientific method is required, and it has to be something that can be tested, right? That's the important basis of it. So it's not just a proposed explanation for a phenomenon, but it also has to be a phenomenon that can be tested, right? So things like stars we can test for things like the speed of light. We can test for things like their distance based on the speed of light, and we can test their well, not really test, but we can kind of put forth a guess as to their lifespan, right? These are all things that we can all do on our own, with our own telescope and with our own
guess. Sorry, did you say the word guess?
Hold on.
Guess.
I'm still.
Yeah, because you said the word guess. Sorry, you said the word guess.
Still going.
Yeah, guess.
Guys, can I? Nathan,
yeah,
can I
no, you can't, Slick. So you said the word guess. So you think that the method for elucidating cause and effect, that would be the scientific method, is actually part of guesswork. That's why I interrupted. You said anybody can do this. The scientific method...
let me ask you a question. Have you ever been hunting?
We're talking about the natural world.
Right, this is the natural world.
Whether or not
astrophysics
with hunting, is
there's a
pseudoscience, you're yet to concede, and I'm having to speak slower and slower while I explain to somebody who's ignorant that it's not science. Now we're talking about hunting. Now I'm not interested in a red herring. I'm interested.
It's an analogy.
I'm interested in pointing out to somebody who's ignorant that science elucidates cause and effect. That's what it does. It doesn't look at something and then have a guess about the speed of light, which is what you've declared. It is a method for elucidating cause and effect.
Is that the definition?
That's what science is.
No, it's not. That's not at all what science is.
Really?
What? The science doesn't go, this is the cause and that is the effect, and now we're going to experiment in between. That's not how science works. Science is that you look at the world around you, right? You observe what's around you and you go, okay, I noticed that sometimes the sky gets dark and these puffy things form and water starts to fall from the sky. What is that? Well, we don't know. Okay, well, let's try to figure out what that is. That's what science is.
Yes, a method.
That's all that science does.
Yes.
And then we can from that we can extrapolate the cause and effect from
How
it.
is that done?
But that doesn't mean
how is that done?
Is in the business of discovering the cause and effect of things.
How? We look at the fluffy clouds and we say, how does that happen? Now you tell me what method would be used to establish what causes that to happen. You tell me what is done to establish that empirically.
What do you mean? It depends on the type of science you're using. It depends on what you're using to figure it out. It would probably be some sort of climate
You just
science.
told me I'm wrong. Now you tell me.
I never said you're wrong. I never once
me.
uttered those words.
Yeah, so
I never
you
even
tell
said
me.
those words one time. What are you talking about?
You tell me how science. So you tell me how science would establish the cause of an effect, like fluffy clouds, or nighttime, or any phenomena. You tell me how they establish the cause of it.
How would depend on the method. So if I want to figure out how fast a ball rolls down a hill, for example, right? I would have to use measurement and I would have to use some sort of speed calculations.
It's not a natural phenomena. That's not a natural phenomena. Science is interested...
A ball rolling down a hill? You've never seen a boulder roll down a hill?
A boulder rolling down a hill.
Yes, roll down a hill or a mudslide. You've never seen that? That's a natural phenomenon.
A mudslide and a ball rolling down a hill.
A boulder. Like, you know, when you're driving on the highway and they have those warning signs, warning, falling rocks, right? That's the same phenomena as a ball rolling down the hill.
Okay.
It's the exact same thing.
No
The only
worries.
difference is I would be pushing the ball as opposed to nature pushing down the boulder.
Okay. So we've got a phenomenon of boulder falling. Now you tell me how science would elucidate the cause of that effect, please.
It depends on the method. So
you keep saying it depends on the method. Tell me what method you will use, Dick Brain. You're starting to become irritating. Don't tell me it depends on the method. We're talking about science. So we are talking about the scientific method. I'm just trying to ascertain if you know what it is. Everyone on the panel knows what it is, and they know that you don't. I'm just highlighting that by my questions. Don't tell me it depends on the method. Tell me what method you're going to apply.
Measurement and speed calculation.
Measurement's not science, that's maths.
Maths is a science.
Maths is maths. Science elucidates cause and effect. So,
no,
maths is not science. Again, this is why I am calling you ignorant.
So
no, measuring something. No, measuring something is not science. Systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis, using that formula known as the scientific method to elucidate the cause of a phenomena, otherwise known as an effect, otherwise known as a dependent variable. So I understand this method. I'm asking you, with your phenomena of boulder falling, how you think science would establish the cause of that.
I'm just making sure you're finished.
Joseph, boulder falls, cause. Why did the boulder fall?
We have to figure it out through
how?
many ways.
How? With science.
Let's apply some science, Joseph.
Which kind of science would you want to use?
I'm
right?
asking you made the claim.
For
Boulder
example,
falls.
It's not a claim. We know that boulders fall down hills. That's not a claim.
Yeah.
Hold
on, Spurs. Yes, we understand.
Jesus Christ.
Can you stop interrupting?
It's a claim to say that boulders fall down hills. I'm incredulous.
No, it's a phenomenon, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Wait, hold on. Did somebody push the boulder?
Spurs.
That would be the observation.
Oh, right.
part.
So now I've got a cross conversation with Spurs. Look,
there you go.
Have given
that
us...
would be the observation part of the experiment, right?
Yeah. Now we want the cause.
Right. So now we're all on the same page and we can play nicely in the sandbox.
So now we need to understand how you think we'll ascertain the cause of that.
How would we ascertain the cause of it? So we'd start by observing. So we'd say, oh my gosh, this boulder fell down the hill. Let's run up the hill and see what happened, right? And then I'm not going to create this whole hypothetical world, but we'd take a series of steps to analyze the area using many different methods of figuring things out. So you'd check the wind, you'd check weather conditions, you would check the actual terrain of where you're standing. Those are all different forms of what we call science, but we use observation as the baseline, right? Because that's the first thing you have to use. You can only use your sense perception first, right? But then we create our own tools that adjust for our personal biases or our personal perceptions of things, right? So we're not getting it 100% wrong. And the reason why we do it with more people is so that we can have one converging idea based on these tools that we use in order to understand something that might trick our sense perception. That's effectively all that science does. It's not some monolithic, scary thing. It's just if you're a child and you dig through the dirt.
No, I don't need you to carry on indefinitely. I don't need you to carry on telling us what it's not. So you have told us what it is. You take steps. I don't need you to now carry on talking. You take steps to go to the top.
I'm trying to have a real conversation here, right?
That's what I'm not a real conversation when you carry on indefinitely. Right, my friend, you're just becoming intolerable. Right. You've explained what it is. I don't need you to expand on it by telling us what it isn't and what you would do with a child. Now shut your mouth. We've understood. Joseph, why are you doing this? Every time I open my mouth, you talk. Is this the new Glober tactic?
For no reason.
It seems clear that this is the new Glober tactic. Every time I open my mouth and demolish a ignorant person, they talk indefinitely over the top of me. So, I will now hopefully summarize what you think is the scientific method for establishing the cause of the phenomena of rock falling. Correct me if I am wrong. At the end, you take steps to the top of the hill, and then you make tools to establish the wind and other variables that might be occurring, and then you get more people to come along and do the same thing. Is that the method that you say we should imply if we are doing science?
I don't know.
Well, maybe you could repeat the method that you've just given us.
Sure. Oh, that's now? You want that now?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yep.
All right. Are we going to continue to have a conversation?
You're
Or
becoming very draining right now, bro. Like, let's go, man.
Man, you guys are just like rude people. I don't understand. Okay, look, the scientific method is a method of procedure that has characterized natural science consisting in systematic observation, measurement, and experiment, and the formulation, testing, and modification of hypotheses.
Apply it to your boulder.
Sorry, that's not what you just said. So it sounds like you've just read that from somewhere. Because my next
100%.
question... Sorry, I'm now talking. I didn't interrupt you. So I was going to ask you for a citation for what you said previously, which was words to the effect of you go up to the top of the hill and you take measurements of the air temperature and you get more people to come along. I mean, I might go through it after the fact and have another listen to it. But that was not what you just said. So you've just said something completely different.
Would you like me to walk you through it through the definition I've used?
You've used two. The first definition was...
So the first thing that I said was the
that's not your cue to keep talking after me replying with two words. So, your first definition specifically included the words taking steps up the hill. It also included gathering more people and creating tools and taking measurements of the wind. That was your first explanation.
That's a butchered fucking paraphrasing of
Don't swear.
Anyways,
don't swear.
That is.
Don't
but
swear.
Anyways.
Don't swear. Are you deaf?
Why are you yelling, bro?
Because you're swearing. Because you're swearing.
I never swore. I never even swore.
Well, then you're completely stupid and not even conscious of your own actions.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
Yeah, don't blaspheme either. So, you've read out two completely different explanations for how you believe the cause of the phenomena of rocks falling occurs and how you would establish that cause. The first involved taking steps to go up to the hill. The second was a presumably read from somewhere on Google definition of the scientific method that included the words experiment and hypothesis.
So what I said initially was we would go up to the mountain and make observations, right? We'd have to observe the terrain. We'd have to observe weather conditions, things of that nature, right? That's where we would start. So in the definition that I gave, it's fairly consistent so far. It starts off with consisting in systematic observation. What I just described is systematic observation. It would be observation of many different systems and how they work together in order to
sorry, can I just interrupt? Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, I just need clarity on something. I'm really sorry to interrupt. Did you just say many observations of different systems? Is that what you just said?
The terrain, the weather, the conditions of the wind, those are different systems of the atmosphere. So that would be a correct analysis. If you want to nitpick, wait till the end.
Sorry, do you want to read the definition where it says, where does it say that in the definition that you just read?
Consisting in systematic observation.
Systematic, you think is the observation of different...
Hold on! Do I have to Google that?
Hold on. You think systematic observation means the observation of many different systems. Am I correct?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to give...
No, it is what you're saying. It's just extremely amusing and stupid that you think it's an observation of multiple systems where it says systematic observation.
Looking on the ground, right? You would dig through the dirt, you would find different samples, you would find different core ideas, looking about how the ground operates. That would be one systematic observation. Another systematic observation would be looking at weather patterns of that area, looking at the climate of that area, trying to figure out how the climate of that area and how the weather of that area erodes rocks and aids them in moving around and being shifted. Those are all systematic observations.
Is that right?
Correct me then, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it means multiply doing the same thing over and over again.
No, that's not what I said. I just clarified what I meant, right?
Yeah.
And now
you clarified it as being lots of different things and also as being looking at lots of different systems.
Okay, so I can continue on what I'm doing, or you can continue nitpicking. Anyways, so it's fairly consistent with what I said so far. So systematic observation, that was the first part of what I said. Measurement and experiment. So measurement would be what I said. We would do things like measuring the speed and the rate of which the rock rolls down the hill, and all of those other types of measurements of wind pressure and things of that nature. And then experiment. We would roll a ball down that hill to see if we can recreate that formulation and the formulation, testing and modification of our original hypotheses, right? So everything that I laid out in my example off the top of my head is completely in line with the scientific method. So now we're arguing over nothing.
Let me know when you're done.
It is nothing.
Hold on.
What's
So,
this?
hold on. So,
I'm sorry.
so the whole point of this was to elucidate the cause of the phenomenon of rocks falling. So,
yes.
So in your process, correct me if I'm wrong, at one stage you roll the ball down the hill. Am I correct?
As a part of the testing, yes.
So you cause the rock to roll.
No, I caused the ball to roll as a part of the testing to see if it matches up with the speed and the rate at which the boulder rolls down the hill.
I see. But you appreciate that what you're trying to establish is the cause of the rock falling if you are performing. I hadn't finished my sentence, my friend. Yeah, I'm speaking very slowly because quite literally everybody watching this is far more stupid for having listened to what you have to say about it. Now, given that you've told us that in your experiment you will cause the effect, that tells me without any doubt whatsoever that you are absolutely stupid.
100%.
Yeah.
So what do we make of that? Like, what am I supposed to do? Go cry?
No, nobody needs to cry here. I just need the audience to understand implicitly that they are in fact more stupid for having listened to what you had to say on this subject. That you haven't in any way elucidated the cause of the effect that you described, and you haven't got the vaguest notion what needs to be done in a scientific experiment to elucidate the cause of an effect. You think that to elucidate the cause of an effect, you just need to go up to the top of the hill and actually cause it by rolling it down the hill yourself. Now that would be you causing the effect as opposed to establishing what caused the phenomena.
So after we're done collecting all the information, we get to the top of the hill. We can then discern what the cause was. But me rolling the ball down the hill would only be for testing purposes to see if the speed and the rate would be similar to the boulder, so we could understand the possible cause. So after I do all the measurements and after I take all the measurements, after I've done my observations, after I've created my hypothesis, right, and I've done the measurements, done the experiments, come up with the formulas, all that stuff, we would take that back to the lab, and then we would determine what the potential cause is. Right? Oh, yeah. And then we could go from there. And that's how science works.
Sorry, the original question was, how do we establish the cause? And so far, we've gone up to the top of a hill, we've taken a lot of measurements, we've figured out how fast it rolls down the hill. Then we're going to take the rock back to the lab and go from there to figure out the cause. So the original question was, how do we figure out the cause? So far, we've done a lot of nonsense, not figured out the cause, and then handed it over to scientists to figure it out? Is that what you're saying? This sounds like a really good method.
The scientists are the ones taking the are the ones doing the observations and taking the measurements and doing the experiments, and it's the same thing with a detective. When they go to the scene of a crime, they have to gather up all the information taken by the CSIs, taken by the investigators, this, that, and the other, and they have to go back and figure out the cause of the crime. It's the same.
You watch too much TV.
It's not too much TV. This is I have fucking relatives that are.
Stop swearing. Right, last chance. Hold on, everyone. Hold on. That's the second time you've sworn. Don't swear on my show. Now, I'm going to ask again. How do you establish the cause? So far, you've given us a load of stuff that doesn't establish the cause, and then told us that we're going to go back to the lab and take it from there. But the question is, the take it from there bit is the bit that we want. How do we get to the cause? Because so far, your method has achieved nothing, except for doing stuff that gives us the speed of a rock falling after you've pushed it down a hill. And then we're going to hand it over to the lab so that they can establish the cause. And I want to know what they will do, given that they're doing science also, after your science, otherwise known as nonsense. So tell me how they establish the cause.
I think he needs help, Nathan. I don't think he understands.
So it's the same people. It's all the same people. We're not handing off.
I don't care about the people. How do they elucidate the cause?
No, this is what I'm trying to explain, right? I'm trying to explain to you that. So the way they elucidate, I don't know why you keep using the word elucidate, but the way that they figure the cause out, right? The way that they come to that conclusion is they look at all of the data, and if the data converges onto one answer, then that would be the cause. And that's how you figure out the cause. Now, I have a question for you.
No. That's not an answer. So in your example,
that's not an answer that you like.
Sorry. In your example, you've got all of the data. So from that data, how do they extrapolate out the cause of the rock falling? How do they do that bit?
I get it, right. So the data converges on one answer. It will, right? That's the nature of collecting data. It will converge into one common place or a common enough place to say that that's most likely the answer, because that's what science operates under. It doesn't operate in absolutes.
Right? Yes, it does. Science is an empirical method. It elucidates the cause of an effect. You establish whether or not you have predicted correctly the cause of the effect, or you have not. It's empirical because it has both an alternative hypothesis, your presumed cause of the effect, and a null. The null gives you the empirical nature of the scientific method. It proves the cause of an effect. You telling me that you gather a load of data and the data will point towards what's most probably the cause tells me that we're dealing in probability. Again, that would be mathematics. Definitely not elucidating the cause of an effect, but giving you a probability based on data sets.
No,
not science. Shut up! Not
but you're
science.
Wrong about math. You're wrong about math.
Science. What you've told us is not science, it's maths. And it gives you a correlation, a probability, not a cause.
Okay, so you're wrong about math. Maths deal in proofs. Science does not. You got that backwards. Maths equations dole out proofs. That's what maths do, right? Science doles out probabilities. Right,
well, Nathan, can you let Paul have a go? I think he wants.
I'm not getting where you got that. You're saying that that's flipped around. You're just wrong about that. Maths deal in proof. Science deals in probability. That's the nature of science. Because
that's absolutely outrageous. Science elucidates cause and effect through systematic, hypothesis-based experimentation. It's an empirical method of elucidating the cause of an effect. The way you do it is you presume what the cause actually is, and then you go forth to vary and manipulate your presumed cause to see if it causes the effect or not. If it doesn't, it will confirm your null hypothesis. If it does, it will validate your alternative hypothesis. The method is empirical. If it wasn't empirical, nobody would bother doing it. So that on that absolutely ludicrous note from a complete bonehead, I will say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, then stay tuned as there will be a short after show to follow. However, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley live stream, then this is where we bid you farewell. If you'd like to keep yourself entertained after the live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Massive thanks to all who liked, commented, shared and subscribed. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!